When I finish school, in future, I would like to become a teacher. Personally, growing up, I experienced many challenges, specifically communication barriers. I remember when I was in university, sometimes I used to miss cards and exams because I didn't know how the timetable would be. Sometimes my friends will forget that I am deaf and fail to inform me in time about the timetable.
For the children that we serve, we estimate that there are over 200,000 of them that should be in school at any one time, but unfortunately our schools currently have only 8,000.
Like the regular students, the deaf students have to go to boarding schools. You'll all agree with me that where we come from, the nearest primary school is probably less than 4 kilometers. But in case of deaf, we probably have one school per county. So if you look at a county like Mashako, which is so big, and they only have one school, you'll agree that there are quite a number of children who cannot be able to reach it on a daily basis, and they have to board.
Yeah, for the special schools, you would not call it low level of enrollment because the schools are full, majority of them that is. But there may not be enough places. And then awareness is also a factor that comes in when you are talking about access to education. Because majority of parents may not know where to take their children or where the special school is. They are too few considering the size of the country. They are well spread out, but they are still too few to accommodate all the needs.
There are no universities or colleges for the deaf. After school, where do the deaf go? When parents of deaf children pay school fees until they complete their studies, they don't see the future benefits.
The primary factor would be ignorance and community attitudes. Because parents may perceive their children as not being capable of, leading any useful life because of the nature of their disability. And then the other factor is lack of awareness. When to take your child for assessment, where to take them for school. And so many parents may not even have the exposure of leaving their village to venture out into the nearest town. They may get to an assessment center which can advise on where the schools are.
Because all along the society have their own myths and their own perception around the deaf people and around persons with disability in general, you see. So this is the main barrier. If people think you can't, people think you are stupid, people think you are dumb. This is a big barrier that we as deaf people experience.
There are other children who just go on a daily basis. The deaf one have to board. And when we consider that in the rural areas, the income of our parents, of the people in the rural areas is a little bit low, then we have a problem.
And access to higher education requires that the deaf individual hire an interpreter of sign language. The interpreters have gone to college and they are professionals who ask for a lot of money. This is too expensive for a deaf individual to afford.
Assistive devices are an integral part of education for the deaf. We have lots of children who, although they were assigned in to go to a school for the deaf and referred by an assessment center, they have not been properly assessed with a diagnostic audiometer to know their level of hearing and the kind of hearing aids they can wear, and the extra support like speech therapy or they can be given. And you find that at least a third of the children in schools for the deaf with proper hearing aids and proper training and speech therapy, they can actually learn in regular schools and be integrated. But there comes questions of affordability of hearing aids, questions of maintenance of hearing aids, and basically even the knowledge that hearing aids exist and who they work for and who they cannot work for.
There are deaf people who have completed their university education here. But these people have learned with a lot of difficulties. Many have learned without interpreters, so they had to rely on their classmates by constantly looking at their notes and writing. They will just sit close to their hearing classmates, so when the lecturer is teaching, they look at their friends' notes and copy. I have submitted my proposal to the Ministry of Education and spoke with some of the officials there. When I went to their office, I spoke to them and said clearly, the reason why we, the deaf community, are lagging behind is because their policies are different from ours. Some of them go and look for teachers with quality school certificates. They think because a person knows how to sign A, B, C, D, they already know sign language. They send them to go to work in schools for the deaf. When they get there, they get stuck. They don't know where to start from because they only know A, B, C, D. Yet the Teacher Service Commission has already employed them and they are expecting their monthly salary. But how? The children will want to learn through sign language. The syllabus in Kenya, which the deaf schools use, is not deaf-friendly. This means that the syllabus is meant for the hearing children, not for the deaf. At the same time, we have the Ministry of Education. When they are developing different activities in schools, they forget deaf schools.
Questions that are sound-based or require the use of sound to answer will not work for the deaf. For example, if you put a number of words in English and you want to ask which one is the odd one out, and this oddness be based on their pronunciation, the deaf person may not know how to pronounce them because they only know how to sign them. And so they may fail in such a question. If they go to a physics exam or a chemistry exam and they're supposed to do some lab experiments that result into some popping sounds that will be marked as successful carrying out of the experiment, the deaf will not hear that popping sound. So we work a lot with the National Examinations Council to ask them, to guide them that, you know, there are some questions that just cannot work for the deaf. And you're going to fail this child, and the child is not inherently the one with a problem, it's a question that is a problem. So we have a few challenges in the curriculum delivery and a few challenges in the fluency of the teachers.
Personally, I love teaching. After 2 years, I decided to go back to class because I believe if we change the education situation in Kenya for the deaf children, we can change the lives of deaf people in Kenya as well.
Solution to the access to our deaf population to access education is to integrate the deaf population with the regular school so that they learn together. That is actually the short-term solution. Though I said that there is a bit of a problem because most of our regular schools and most of our regular teachers are not conversant with Kenya Sign Language.
As a matter of priority, the government should audit all the teachers that teach in schools for the deaf and see how fluent they are in sign language. The ones that are not fluent should be given in-service training in sign language, and it should not be at their own expense or initiative. It should be at state's expense, and it should be a requirement and not a choice. So that we have only teachers that know sign language teaching these children. Because you can imagine if a child wants to ask a question and the teacher cannot understand what the kid is asking, and so they will not give any answer, and the children just give up on the teachers.
The Constitution says that Kenyan Sign Language is a national language. Why not introduce Kenyan Sign Language in all schools in Kenya so that when students finish school outside there, they can communicate with us? We do not need to call an interpreter out there because all people can sign.
Yes, we complained. If we had not complained, those people would have thought all is well. So right now, it's true, Maseno University has interpreters. I went there and saw there were interpreters. I took this letter and went with it to the National Gender and Equality Commission. They told me to first write a formal complaint letter, copy it and send it to Maseno University, and then the commission will follow up. I had to go there and see for myself, because the Constitution talks about equality. We, the deaf people, also have equal rights. So the problem in Maseno University has already been solved. But the problem in Bondo University has not yet been solved. They do not have interpreters.
Then again,
I am here because I got support from my family. For parents of deaf children, I can advise them that when their children go to school, they should give them enough support, show them love, and advise them. If children feel loved at home, outside in the society, they'll feel as important people. But if at home they feel alone, how will they feel when they are outside in the society? It will be difficult. Parents can give deaf children enough support when they go to school. They can visit them, show them love, then from there they'll be motivated to work hard in school and become something in future. As deaf people, we have a responsibility. But the problem comes when we grow up, most of the time we are isolated. We don't know how to integrate with the wider society. But if we put more effort and try to look for information, jobs, and forums where we can participate and lobby for our rights, I believe we can make it, and we can make our lives better. Rather than sitting at home and waiting to be spoon-fed all the time, we can go outside there, speak, stand up, and fight for our rights. From there, we can move as a society.